What finally made you walk away for good? For me, it happened at 26, when I uncovered a truth buried for over a decade. My mother had been using my identity since I was 14. It began with a call from a debt collector about a credit card I'd never opened. Then came the letters. 6 accounts, $43,000 in debt, all under my name. When I confronted her, she didn't flinch. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, the very table where she'd taught me to write my name in crayon as a child, and lit a cigarette, even though she knew my asthma flared around smoke. I needed it, she said, for the house, for your college. You think all that was free? I'd worked 2 jobs through school, believing my scholarships weren't enough. All the while, she'd been vacationing in Cancun, racking up charges in my name. That night, I pulled my full credit report. The damage was worse than I imagined. A 417 credit score, 3 payday loans, a repossessed car, and a foreclosed vacation home in Florida I'd never set foot in. Every document bore my forged signature, one I'd watched her practice obsessively on napkins for years, mistaking it for perfectionism. But the worst part wasn't the debt, it was the life she'd built with my identity. Designer clothes, luxury jewelry accounts, a country club membership where she introduced me, her, as her successful jet-setting daughter. My struggles had funded her fantasy. I gathered the evidence and drove to the police station. The officer shrugged. Family fraud is messy. Most people don't pursue charges. I'm not most people, I said. 3 days later, I sat across from Detective Morales. To press charges, I had to formally declare I was never a willing participant. My mother would face felony counts. Prison was likely. Are you sure? He asked. Once we start, there's no going back. I thought of my childhood, a single mom working night shifts, leaving me dinners with notes like study hard, reach for the stars. I believed we were a team, fighting poverty, surviving together. Then my phone buzzed. A text from her. I've sacrificed everything for you. If you do this, you're dead to me. I stared at those words. All my life I'd been taught loyalty to family was sacred, above truth, above dignity, above justice. I slid my phone across the desk. That, I said, pointing to the screen, is why I'm sure. The arrest came on a Tuesday. Neighbors called to describe her screaming my name as they led her away, accusing me of betrayal, ingratitude. That night, my father, long gone since I was 3, called. You don't turn on family, he slurred, no matter what. Where were you, I asked, when she was destroying my life? The line went dead. My aunt pounded on my door until neighbors threatened to call security. She has cancer, she shouted. She needed the money for treatment. I didn't answer. Later, I called her doctor. There was no cancer. Never had been. At the preliminary hearing, my phone flooded with messages from relatives I hadn't heard from in years. Cousins calling me heartless, uncles questioning my morality, a grandmother I thought was dead leaving a voicemail. You were never worthy of this family name. I sat alone on a wooden bench in the courthouse hallway. Then I saw him, Michael, my older brother, who'd vanished 10 years earlier after a violent fight with Mom. He looked different. Steady, healthy, clear-eyed. He sat beside me without a word. How did you know? I asked. I've been watching public records with your name, he said quietly. I've been waiting for this day for years. I turned to him, stunned. What do you mean? He pulled out his phone and showed me a credit card application from 12 years ago, in my name, but I would have been only 14. You weren't the first, he said, and if you don't finish this, you won't be the last. Before I could respond, the bailiff called my name. As I stood, Michael grabbed my wrist. There's something else, he whispered. Something far worse than credit fraud. In the courtroom, Mom looked diminished, eyes swollen, hair unkempt. When she saw me, she mouthed, I love you. I didn't look back. I focused on the documents, the detective's questions, the facts, not the woman who'd read me bedtime stories, taught me to ride a bike, just the criminal who'd stolen my life. The judge set bail and scheduled a trial. As they led her away, she didn't meet my gaze. Outside, Michael waited. We walked to a coffee shop in silence. For a decade, I'd believed he'd abandoned us. Drugs, theft, threats, she'd said. Now, seeing him in a crisp shirt, wedding ring on his finger, it was hard to reconcile the image. I'm sorry I didn't look for you, I said. He shook his head. She convinced you I was the villain, just like she convinced me you were in on what she was doing to me. The server brought our coffees. He didn't touch his. When I was 17, he began. I found out she'd taken out student loans, credit cards, even a second mortgage, all in my name. When I confronted her, she turned Dad against me, made him think I was lying. He beat me so badly I ended up in the hospital. I remembered being 9, told Michael had been in a car accident. After I turned 18, I tried to file charges. No one believed me. She was a respected teacher, a hard-working single mom. I was just a troubled teen. He pulled out his wallet and handed me a business card. Detective James Morales. He couldn't make the charges stick, but he believed me. Told me to watch your credit when you got older. Warned me she'd likely do the same to you. I stared at the card. Detective James Morales. The same man I'd spoken to just days ago. He'd recognized our last name and called Michael immediately. Is this the worst thing you mentioned? I asked. That she did this to you first? He looked down. No, it's about Lily. My breath caught. Lily, our younger sister, died when I was 7. A car accident, we'd always been told. Michael was 15 then. There was no accident, he whispered. I've been building a case for years. Morales has been helping me. He opened a folder. Inside, insurance policies, medical records, police reports. 5 life insurance policies taken out on Lily in the 6 months before her death, each with triple payouts for accidental death. Total, over $2 million. The night she died, Michael said, I heard her crying. Mom had given her something to help her sleep. When I checked, she was barely breathing. I called 911, but Mom had already called, reporting a car accident 20 minutes away. By the time they realized the real emergency was at our house, it was too late. I remembered fragments, being woken, the hospital, the doctors confused, Mom collapsing dramatically. How do you know all this? I asked. The paramedic who responded knew something was off. The timeline didn't add up. No signs of a crash. But Mom's brother was police chief. The case was buried. The paramedic kept his notes, gave them to me years later. I felt sick. Why tell me now? Because last week, he said, meeting my eyes, Mom took out a life insurance policy on you. $2 million. Triple payout for accidental death. The coffee shop spun. I gripped the table. She was planning to kill me, I whispered. He nodded. We think so, but now she's in custody. You're safe. Safe? I laughed bitterly. My own mother was going to murder me for money. He reached across and took my hand. Unfamiliar, a stranger's touch after so long. We can stop her, he said. For good this time. The trial was set for April, but in March, Mom's lawyer offered a plea. 7 years for identity theft if I dropped further investigation. Morales advised against it. We're close to proving Lily's murder. Accept this, and the case dies. I agonized for a week. Taking the deal meant punishing her, but not for her worst crime. Rejecting it meant gambling on a 12-year-old murder case and risking her walking free. In the end, I chose to fight. When we presented evidence of the policies taken out in my name, the DA added insurance fraud charges. Mom's lawyer demanded a psychological evaluation, claiming Munchausen by proxy, a disorder where a caregiver harms a child for attention. The trial was delayed. During that time, Michael introduced me to his family, Sarah, his wife, and their 4-year-old daughter, Emma. They lived 3 hours away in a quiet coastal town. He was an accountant. She taught elementary school. Their home was bright, warm, filled with drawings and laughter, a world where parents spoke kindly. Disagreements didn't end in silence. Love wasn't earned. You can stay as long as you need, Sarah offered. I accepted, taking a leave from my job. Every noise still made me jump, but there I began to heal. One night, after Emma was asleep, I asked Michael, "Did you learn all this from books?" He smiled sadly. "I learned what not to do from our parents. The rest is just trying to do the opposite." In May, Morales called. They'd found the paramedic, now a doctor, willing to testify. They'd also uncovered Lily's original toxicology report, showing a lethal dose of sleeping medication. The report had been falsified, replaced with one that supported the accident story. The DA added first-degree murder charges. When the news broke, the relatives who'd harassed me fell silent. No more voicemails, no more accusations. Only my father showed up, drunk, pounding on Michael's door at midnight. "Stop this witch hunt. Your mother isn't a murderer." Michael blocked the doorway. "Did you know about Lily, Dad? She was sick. Your mother did everything." "That's not what I asked," Michael said calmly. "Did you know she killed her dad?" Lunged. Michael twisted his arm, pinned him to the porch. "You come near my family again, I'll have you arrested. We're not scared kids anymore." After he left, Michael sat heavily on the couch. "Do you think he knew?" I asked. "I think he suspected," he said, but he didn't want to know for sure. The trial began in September. I testified for 3 days about identity theft, insurance fraud, the lies around Lily's death. Michael described the night he found her barely breathing. The paramedic turned doctor testified about arriving to a child in respiratory arrest and a mother more concerned with her fabricated story than her daughter's life. Mom didn't take the stand. Her defense painted her as mentally ill, a victim of a disorder that made her harm her children for attention. Experts described Munchausen by proxy, sick, not evil. The jury deliberated 6 days. On the 7th, they returned guilty on all counts: identity theft, fraud, and the murder of Lily Evans. As the judge sentenced her to life without parole, Mom finally looked at me. No remorse, only cold fury at being caught. Outside, reporters shoved microphones in my face. "How does it feel to put your own mother in prison?" I had no words. Michael guided me through the crowd. That night, I sat alone on his porch, staring at the stars. For the first time in months, I could breathe. My phone rang, unknown number. A collect call from Mountain View Correctional Facility. I should have hung up. Instead, I accepted. "Why?" she said, voice hollow. "After everything I did for you, the old guilt, the manipulation, familiar, expected. What did you do for me?" I asked. Steal my identity? Plan to kill me? I gave you life, she said, and you tried to take it away. That's not love, Mom, that's ownership. You'll never escape me, she hissed. You're just like me, more than you know. I thought of Michael, sleeping beside Sarah, of Emma, safe in her bed, of the life I could still build, free from her poison. No, I said, I'm nothing like you, and I never will be. I hung up and blocked the number. The next morning, I applied for a job at a design firm in Michael's town, found a small apartment 10 minutes away, started therapy, learned to sleep without checking the locks 3 times. On the anniversary of Lily's death, Michael and I visited her grave for the first time in years. We brought flowers, cleared the weeds, told her we were sorry, told her the truth was finally out. As we walked back, Michael stopped. Do you ever wonder about the years we lost? What our lives would have been like if we'd known sooner? I thought about it. I try not to. We can't get those years back. He nodded. But we got each other back. That's something. It was more than something. It was everything. 6 months later, I met David, an architect with kind eyes who asked permission before holding my hand. On our 3rd date, he asked about my family. It's complicated, I said. I've cut ties with my parents. I braced for judgment. Instead, he nodded. Sometimes that's the healthiest choice. Family should earn their place in your life, like anyone else. I nearly cried in the middle of the restaurant. Last week, a letter arrived from prison, her handwriting on the envelope. For a moment, I considered opening it. Old habits, the need for approval, the faint hope she'd changed. Instead, I lit the fireplace in my new home. David sat beside me as I tossed the unopened letter into the flames. You okay? He asked. I watched the paper curl, blacken, vanish. I'm free, I said, and for the first time in my life it was true.